So the day has finally come and the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max are all available now to buy. Our attention today in this video will be to focus on this, the iPhone 15, which we've got in our hero channel color in pink. Now the reason we've picked an iPhone 15 is pretty obvious. It's going to be the best selling device over the series across its life cycle, and also majority of the attention is being paid to the Pro and Pro Max, but the 15 series poses something quite interesting. Once you've settled things down and you've got it in your hand and you started using it, you quickly realize that there's quite a few reasons to buy and not to buy the iPhone 15. And we're going to go through this review and tell you why, but before we get to that, let's look at the unboxing experience. So you get the 15, which we've got in the pink here. You get a braided, yes, braided USB-C cable, manual inserts, SIM ejector pin, and the box. That's it. No USB plug. Now, if you wanted to buy a USB-C plug, well, you got to pay $40 for an official Apple one. However, we would default to the Anker Nano USB-C charger, which offers the same power output, 20 watts, but is about half the cost. We'll link both of those below and obviously attach the images in this video. But let's talk about what's new in the iPhone 15. So the first key difference on the iPhone 15 that is new compared to the 14 series is USB-C. Now the Pro and Pro Max and the 15 series actually get USB 3.0. On the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus you get 2.0. So what are the differences? You get 100 megabits per second on the iPhone 15, but on the Pro and Pro Max you get 10 gigabits per second. So it's a huge leap. So for data transfer speeds, etc., moving things from device to computer, etc., is all significantly faster, and that's reflective as well in charging. So the charging speeds, not official, are up to 15 watts on wired on the 15 and Pro and Pro Max, 30, but also lifecycle wise they will be better compatible with more 3.0 compared to 2.0. However, this is not going to be negative. We are going to say we're really happy and grateful that Apple has finally adopted USB-C on their iPhone series, and you low-key can kind of thank the EU for that one. Another new, well, kind of new thing, well, it is for the 15 series, I guess, to an extent, it used to be a Pro feature, is Dynamic Island. Yes, Apple's excellent inclusion of using where Face ID is located and adding a cheeky little software quirk to it that allows you to interact better with effectively hot widgets is probably how I'd describe it. In our example here, you can see Spotify. So if you tap it, you go straight into the app, or if you hold it, you get a pop-up window. And the same is reflective in the voice options as well. Anything native Apple seems to work and function just that little bit better. But Dynamic Island on the iPhone 15 is a lovely inclusion. And as you can see here on the front of the display, it sits right at the top there and isn't too intrusive actually when you're gaming or if you're just browsing on the web. But overall, the inclusion of Dynamic Island is a nice feature. Probably we should have had last year, but having it this year kind of makes that lifecycle feel really cool. So probably for most people, the feature they're going to use the most is these, the cameras. Now, if you look at the array of the camera layout, you probably think, not a big upgrade. Stop right there. It's gone from 12 to 48 megapixels, and by default it shoots at 24 megapixels, which a lot of the industry insiders and reviewers and leakers are all raving about how great the output is on the iPhone 15. And as you can see throughout this entire gallery demo of photos and videos, which we've got a lot, we took hundreds of photos, 10s, 20s, 30s of videos, and the production is beautiful. So Apple has this very cool, unique way of delivering how it puts out photos and videos. Videography wise, it's unmatched, but we'll get that in a second. Photo wise, ultra wide, wide, and 2x zoom are still producing really nice, good quality, and that's in photo and video. The only downsides we tend to see is in night sight shots, where you do get a bit of lens glare, and that translates into photos and videos as well. But generally speaking, the output, the quality, the color tones, the portrait mode, cinematic mode, there's so many options here. The camera array on this phone is amazing, and actually I'll be honest, as soon as he did that conference and it ended, I thought, it's Apple being Apple, they're blowing it up out of proportion. But no, I daily drive an S23 Ultra. This is not far off that, I promise you. But yeah, the iPhone 15 in terms of that camera array is pretty impressive. Now, we've talked a lot about the new stuff. Let's touch on what's actually sadly old in the iPhone 15. So the iPhone 15 design is old, basically. So you get a 6.1 inch XDR Super Retina OLED display at 60 Hertz. Rest in peace, 60 Hertz. Why is it still a thing in 2023? This phone actually costs $799 in the US at 128 gig storage with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Normally for that, you're almost guaranteed to get 120 Hertz. I mean, for example, the S22, S23, those are still available to buy. They all have 120 Hertz and cost around about the same in terms of launch. But we understand to an extent why. Apple are trying to create this separation between the Pro models and the non-Pro models. But how's the browsing experience on the 60 Hertz iPhone 15? Well, actually, it's iOS and it's Apple. So they work cohesively very, very well. The experience is butter smooth. No issues at all, no lags. Obviously, if you've used a 120 Hz screen, you'll notice a difference, but otherwise, iOS in terms of browsing on the web, etc., is really, really good. The other thing I want to quickly touch on, we're talking about design here, but also this screen is OLED, obviously, and it's Super Retina, but output-wise, it is beautiful. So if you're watching any content and video on here, it's pretty impressive, as you can see in this demo. And hey, actually, we'll show up for a second. How about that sound? So let's talk performance on the iPhone 15. Now, this particular model is now built on the A16 Bionic chipset, which is from the Pro models of last year, but on a 4nm processor. So slightly different than what we had in the Pros last year. So output and performance-wise, it's going to be excellent. However, not quite as good as what you're going to find on the Pro Max and the Pro from this year, which is built on a 3nm processor. And then that offers 20 to 30% improvements on this current chip. So there is again another dropper from the Pro and Pro Max to the non-Pro models, which I guess is understandable. But putting that aside, let's talk about how it feels and performs. iOS on this device runs butter smooth. No issues with lag at all, like we mentioned earlier. Yes, it's 60 Hertz, but everything pops, it's vibrant. And then when you look into a bit of a deep dive into gaming, then you get console level performance. So we're playing Call of Duty here, and you get the best possible graphics you could imagine on what is capable on this device. So graphically, it's brilliant. Performance-wise, it's amazing. It is last year's chip, but it still performs incredibly well. It's just a shame they couldn't just do a slightly dripped down version of the A17 for this and then make it feel like a newer phone rather than something that's actually a little bit old. However, performance in general is pretty good on the iPhone 15. So what are our final thoughts on the iPhone 15? Color-wise, lovely. In the hand, amazing. No one can do a fit and finish as nicely as Apple can. Fact. Use an S23 Ultra every day. There's something about popping an iPhone in your hand that feels super comfortable, like it was made to be there, which sounds odd. But our final thoughts on the iPhone 15. You've seen the good, seen the bad, or the old and the new, whatever you want to call it. For us, I think personally, in 2023, we'd probably skip the iPhone 15, but we'll put a proviso on that. That's on the condition that you're gonna look to upgrade from, say, a 13 or a 14. You're not gonna notice the differences. Camera performance may be a bit better, it may run a bit smoother, a bit faster, and you've got a dynamic island. If that matters to you so much that you wanna probably pay $300 to $400 premium on top of your current phone, go for it. For us, if you've got a phone that's 3 to 4 years old, say an iPhone 12 or 11, and you want to upgrade, yes, this is the phone for you. But for those who have got last year's or the years before 13 or 14, we'd give it a miss. Why? Well, 60 Hz refresh is criminal. I'm sorry, I don't care what people say. 60 Hz refresh rate in 2023 on a phone that costs upwards of $800 is criminal. It has to be there. It just has to be there. Then you got USB 2.0 rather than 3. Again, a massive miss. So you're not going to get fast charging that much anyway. And then the screen. Those borders are still the same as they are. They're still 6.1 inch, they're still nice and vibrant, but they could do so much more with the iPhone 15, but they've chosen not to. Don't get it twisted. This is going to sell in millions and millions and millions. It'll smash record profits. It'll make tons of money. But for us, as tech reviewers, the iPhone 15, it's not for us. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, as always, we out.